watching Faith World TV. Faith World TV, changing the world with the Word of God.
Beautiful people, it's time to Arise and Shine. I am your host, Kristie Paul. Arise and Shine is all about, hot topics, current events, and so much more. And today we've chosen to bring to you this brand. It's TEMPLESPA. Some of you may have seen it in some of the leading UK hotels or spas, but we've chosen to bring you this brand today to tell you the story behind the brand. So stick around. And guess what? I have with me co-founder and MD of TEMPLESPA. So Liz, thank you so much for being on this program and, sharing with us the story behind the brand. I am excited.
Me too.
Lovely. So let's start from the beginning. So you grew up in Suffolk.
Yes.
And you've done some incredible things as a young woman, and even till now, you're still impacting lives in whatever, aspect. Tell us a bit about your younger years.
Well, I was, as you say, brought up in Suffolk, one of 4 children, 3 older brothers, and I got married very young, at 17. I met my husband when I was 14 and he was 22. And so we got married very young, and I think I realised straight away that I was never going to achieve everything I wanted to in life, travel, have a nice house and have the beautiful things in life on a dental nurse salary.
Okay.
And I managed to get into cosmetics, and I was only 18 and I became a sales consultant for a beautiful American company, and I just found my niche. I loved working with women and I enjoyed working with skincare and cosmetics. So I kind of started at 18, so it's pretty much all I've ever done.
Oh, brilliant. So you started your whole journey in beauty, and was that something, passed down from a family member?
My gosh, no, not at all, no. My mother was a pianist, and she trained in pharmacy, and she was quite a serious person and mathematical and amazing, and I was not an academic at all. My enjoyment at school was singing, dancing, acting, talking, and I guess I just used those communication gifts that I was able to have as an instrument for my career.
Oh, brilliant. So you said you met your husband, Mark, at a very early age, 14.
I know. And
then you guys, I don't know, did it gel right on? Because you two seem to be a very successful, power couple in the business world.
Yeah.
What was that journey like?
Oh my gosh, yeah, literally love at first sight. I mean, it was a big shock for Mark because, he meets this 14-year-old, and he had recently become a Christian, actually, and one of his first prayers was that he wanted to find a wife. So when he met me and I was 14, I think he thought, nah, this isn't right at all. But he couldn't escape the fact that he just fell in love with me and me him.
Yeah.
And so I think it's been a blessing that we were together very young. Yeah. I've been married 48 years now, and we're just best friends, and we absolutely adore each other. And we happen to be really good business partners because we're flip sides of a coin. What I'm not good at, Mark is brilliant at, and vice versa. And then we meet in the middle, and we've got some overlap that we both, come together on. But it's been probably my most successful part of my life has been my marriage, I would say.
Oh, brilliant.
Yeah.
It shows 45 years.
Yeah.
Wow. So what are the principles and values that you two have used, to create what you guys have?
I think we've got outstanding communication. In the early years, I think typical of what a lot of marriages are like, girls talk too much, guys don't talk enough. And I think we found our way. Something happened in our journey that we had started a business for Richard Branson, went to him with the idea, created a brand called Virgin V, ran that company for 3 years. And then we realised that what we wanted was a business of our own. We had created brands for other people, worked in the body shop, worked very closely with Anita Roddick, and then, as I say, took this idea to Richard Branson. And then I think one day we just literally woke up and thought, why do we keep doing this for other people when we could do it for ourselves? And so we took a year out and we travelled. We travelled throughout all the countries of the Mediterranean. And during that time, I think that's when there was a huge turning point in our marriage, and we suddenly realised the absolute art of communication and just being best friends, really. And we'd gone through some very challenging things. I'd lost my mum, he'd lost his mum, Mark had lost his mother 6 months after mine, and there'd been quite a lot of tragedy in our life and difficulty. And so having that time together made us really think about what mattered to us. And I think we realised we've got something quite magical together. So why don't we have a business baby? Rather than being nannies for other people's brands, why don't we have our own baby? So that was kind of the turning point for us. And that was 25 years ago.
That is awesome. And like you said, you guys shared some highs, some lows.
Definitely.
Is there any, advice that you have for, married couples? They're going through, rocky times. Is there any advice any snippets? Because this 45 years, you must.
Yeah, it's 48 actually.
48? Oh, wow.
48, nearly 50.
Wow.
Yeah, gosh, that's a loaded question, and it has so many different textures. But I think that really you have to investigate, are we a team here? Are we a team, or are we two separate people going our separate ways? Because I think that's been the secret for us, is that we are one team. I think if you looked at our roots, they're entwined. If you went beneath the ground, it's one root. We have committed ourselves to each other, and obviously committed ourselves to God. And I think advice when you go through difficulty, because it certainly, it hasn't been 48 years of plain sailing for sure, many different things. And I think life is twin tracks. I think it was Warom that said, we think we go through life and it's up and down and up and down. I'm on the mountaintop and now I'm in the valley. No, it's not. It's there are twin tracks. You have one track where it feels like there's blessing and favor and things are going well and there's sunshine and it's gorgeous. And then there's others simultaneously where you have the challenges, the difficulties, perhaps, a stress with your relationship, with your finances, with your health, or all of the above. But you do that together. And I think as a couple, if you draw together and say, where's our goal? Why did we get married in the first place? Because we were in love. Let's get back to that place, but let's move forward as a team. And I think that's always been our kind of unwritten code, really. We're a team.
Brilliant. Almost so like there is one, you'll have merged the two individualities into one, and there's one goal, there's just so much unity.
Yes.
That's a great point. Because in relationships nowadays, there's always a divide. Like, I want this,
definitely,
I want that.
Definitely. Different agendas.
Yeah.
And I think if you have different agendas, that makes it very hard to have one agenda. You can both have your contributions, and you can both have your areas where you're perhaps dissatisfied and you've got to move on and you've got to challenge and do better. But I think so often I see couples, he's doing his thing, she's doing her thing, and you're thinking, come on, guys, let's blend here.
Yeah. That is brilliant. You did talk about your husband, Mark. I think before he met you, he was a Christian, or he became a Christian?
Just as he met me. Yeah, He wasn't a Christian before that. He was brought up a Catholic, and then he met my brother, and my brother was his supervisor at work, and he invited him to a carol service, and then he took 6 months of kind of coming and going from church, and then he made a commitment. And as I say, his first prayer was to find a wife, and I was going to the same church. So right place, right time is what I say.
Brilliant. And how important is faith to both of you?
It's everything. It's everything. I cannot possibly imagine doing life without my faith. I think, life is tough. Yeah. There's a lot going on in our country, in our world, in our daily lives, and to even conceive of being able to navigate through all of that without knowing that, I have got a Heavenly Father who loves me and has a purpose for my life, and he has a purpose for the nation and for the tribes in the nations. It is it's in me. It's not even possible for me to think. I wouldn't be able to breathe without my faith. That's how important it is to me.
Brilliant. Hearing you say that, and how passionate you are, and what you bring, Temple Spa, you're still impacting lives, but it's kind of different from, you know, how a pastor would, or how
Yes.
you still...
You can assume that in a pastor, in a church,
Yeah.
the pastor has got a congregation, an audience of people that want to be there, that have a faith of their own or they're seeking. I can't assume that in Temple Spa. We have got Christians in Temple Spa and I'm thrilled, but we've got a lot of non-Christians and I'm just as thrilled to have. I love all of them. And so to me, this is a community that God has given me to be an inspiration and an influence over as a leader and as a role model.
Yeah.
And I take it very seriously.
Brilliant. So you talked about after working for, you know, numerous of beauty companies, you decided to start Temple Spa.
Yes.
Tell us, how did you conceive the name?
Well, it's funny you're using the word conceive because that's exactly what it was. So Mark and I left Virgin, and because of a non-compete, what happens in the corporate world is that if you leave a company, they gave us a year's salary each and then basically said you can't work in the industry for a year. So we weren't sure what we were going to do anyway. We just knew it was time to move on. We'd done that season and it was time to move on to a new season. But what that was doing, we didn't know. And so we literally got in our car. We got a one-way ticket to Calais and drove. They'd given us the use of a company car for a year, so we thought we might as well put some serious miles on that car. And so we travelled throughout all the countries of the Mediterranean, stayed with friends, family, B&Bs. But we decided at the end of that travelling time that we were going to renew our vows. And so we put a little bit of budget together and stayed in a beautiful hotel in Cyprus. And on the morning that we were going to renew our vows, Mark woke up and he did his early morning swim, as he likes to. And he was going to create an album because I'd got the white dress and he'd got the linen suit. We were going to do the whole thing in a Byzantine chapel. We were going to renew our vows and it was all going to be very romantic and beautiful, just the two of us. And when he woke up, he was swimming in this infinity pool, and ahead of him he saw the Mediterranean Sea and obviously the blue azure skies. He thought, wow, that's a beautiful picture. So he jumped out of the pool, took the photograph, and then he came back to our bedroom where I was just drinking my tea, and he said, hey, have a look at these lovely photos. And he'd taken things like avocado trees and pomegranate trees, and then he showed me this picture and he said, and what do you think of that photo? And immediately I said, and what do you think of the name Temple Spa? And
Wow.
it was an epiphany moment. I mean, he literally was like, oh my gosh. And that's the moment Temple Spa was conceived. You know how a lot of people will say their baby was conceived in India, so they call her India.
Okay.
Well, we were in the Mediterranean. And so we named our baby Temple Spa. Renewed our vows later on that evening, and we had a beautiful pastor, a female pastor from Paphos, who came and did a blessing over us. And then she started prophesying over us, and she told us that we were going to have an amazing future, and we had no idea what God had planned for us. So really, that's the deal.
That is awesome. Like you said, an epiphany moment. He came up with the pictures and the name. You came up with the name, and from there, it's...
And then we realised
upwards.
why we had travelled to the Mediterranean. It was with purpose, because we could have gone anywhere, right? We could have gone to Asia, America. We went to all the countries of the Mediterranean, and so what was being birthed in us was this concept of Temple Spa, which would be a British brand with a Mediterranean heartbeat. And so we've been able to use the inspiration of the ingredients, the diet, the landscape, the architecture, all of the Mediterranean to be the kind of platform and basis of Temple Spa.
Oh, brilliant. And how long did it take you guys from conception to production?
Actually, 2 years. You see, it was just the two of us, which was a real shock, because when we left Virgin, we had 300 staff. So we had a full team supporting us, and then it was just the two of us. We kind of looked at each other and said, where are the staff? We don't have any, we are it. So actually there was quite a speed and a pace to what we did, because there's no politics, because it's just the two of you. You know, you're not fighting each other, you're fighting together. And I had a long background in skincare development, and Mark is an engineer, so he created all the packaging. So we just kind of, it rolled beautifully. And then after 2 years, we were ready to face the world with our brand and start selling it in, which we did, about 2 years after we started.
And what type of, I know it was an early stage, after 2 years, you put it out on the market.
Mm-hmm.
What type of feedback did you get?
Oh my gosh, we were dreading that moment. Because it's really weird. I developed brands for other people for years. I mean, that was my job, creating brands, because it's with their money. But all of a sudden, it's your money.
Yeah.
And it's like your baby. And you know, when you have a baby, you have a daughter. When you have a baby, you want everyone to go, oh my gosh, she's gorgeous.
Yes.
But in your mind, you're thinking, people might go, oh, okay.
Yes.
So there was an element of fear that what would people say. Mm-hmm. In the testing period, we had used 150 volunteers to test the product, and we got really good feedback, so that was good. And I remember the first time that we knocked on the door of Harrods, and we literally delivered a parcel to them. And they don't allow you to meet them. You have to just deliver your product in. Okay. And so we delivered the product. And then we were literally having a coffee next door. And my phone rang. And it was Harrod saying, are you the person that just dropped off the parcel? And I said, yes. And they said, OK, we'd like to set up a meeting with you ASAP. And I was so cheeky. I just said, well, we're here now. Do you want to meet now? And when we walked into their kind of boardroom, all our products were on the table and people were sniffing them and trying them, and they're going, oh my gosh, this is fantastic. And I wanted to burst into tears because up until then, no one had seen it. Mm-hmm. And just seeing the reaction was amazing. And we were in the store within 2 weeks of that time. And here we are 22 years later and still in Harrods and doing really well there. And of course, then we knocked on the door of a local spa, and that was our first spa. And we sold our products on Scandinavian Airlines. They were looking for an amenity kit, and we managed to win that business against some really stiff competition. So that was our launch pad, which was really exciting.
And in creating, the product, what type of people did you have in mind? Do
you know, I'd love to give you a proper marketing answer to that and say, oh yes, this demographic, this age group. I got to be honest, Kristie, I didn't care. I just knew that if we created the right brand, that it would have some great social reach. It would reach across a density of age groups and actually diversity as well. So in my mind's eye, I didn't ever really think, oh, it's for this type of woman or this type of man or this age group or this skin type. I just felt we've got a beautiful brand. I think it's a God-inspired brand. I truly believe he gave us the idea for it. And I think he inspired the fragrances, the textures. We prayed over every single formula and every single piece of packaging. And so I wasn't really concerned that it wouldn't reach people. It needs to reach more people, that's for sure. And it's great to be here and talk, about to your audience about perhaps their knowledge of TEMPLESPA, or perhaps they've never heard of it. So that's a whole new audience for us, which is great. But yeah, I guess really you'd have to say probably women between 30 and 50, but I'm not even going to get specific because I know that our customers come from probably about 8 different decades of age group, and black, white, yellow, red. It's very diverse, which we're thrilled about.
Yes, all skin types. I'm so excited. We're gonna get into the products soon.
Okay.
But you talked about starting off. You delivered the box to Harrods, and then you went to a local spa, and now over 22 years, where can we find, can you let our viewers know, where?
So I think some of your viewers may think, TEMPLESPA, where have I seen TEMPLESPA? It might have been in a hotel, because we are in thousands of hotels around the world, and we're very blessed that we are kind of marketplace, our boutique, upmarket hotels, and so you might find TEMPLESPA in the bathrooms. That's always a nice surprise. Obviously in spas, we're in about 160 different spas, and obviously Harrods, and we have our own website. But then also a journey for me, which has probably been the most exciting, is our Spa to Go program. And we had been trading for about 4 years. And it takes a while to develop a spa business, as you can manage it. It's a big decision for a hotel or spa to switch over brands or make a decision for TEMPLESPA. And I felt we weren't reaching enough people. And in my heart, one thing I knew to be true, that for a lot of women, they are looking for an entrepreneurial opportunity. They know they've got some talent within them, but maybe it's latent. Maybe it's not had an opportunity to blossom or come out, or they haven't found the right job, the right career. Maybe they love being a mum, but they need some extra income and they need an interest that keeps their brain, activated.
Yeah.
Or it might be women who are lonely. There's a lot of women who are lonely and they need to be in part of a community and to belong. So we created Spa to Go, and it's a diffusion arm of Temple Spa. And what it means is we have about 5,000 independent lifestyle consultants, and they have a Temple Spa business. It's kind of like a franchise.
Okay.
And so they have a go-to business that they can, for a very modest investment, enjoy the benefits of having the backing of a company and a brand and expertise that they can choose, whether it's a little side hustle or a hobby, right through to literally a 6-figure salary with car and travel and everything, and find their level. That has been a game changer for us, because I really feel that I'm gifted with working with women. I love men, but I absolutely love women. And it's been for me a great blessing to offer this opportunity
Yes.
to women up and down the country.
Yes. We had the opportunity of meeting with Sue Grace.
You did.
It was phenomenal.
Yeah.
And the ladies enjoyed it as well. We got to experience the different formulas you have here.
Yes.
And is that something similar to the
Yes.
Spa to Go?
Well, this is exactly what Spa to Go is. So Sue, a beautiful Christian girl, I love her. I was just recently with her in Vietnam. She's a very successful person, and she came on a trip with us and 35 other people. So how Sue, a typical consultant, would fill their time would be primarily they would create spa experiences for small groups of people. It can be in the workplace. Sometimes we do wellness in the workplace, and we take our products and our beautiful relaxation into a workplace where maybe people during their lunch break come to the boardroom or the training room, and they will experience the lovely little pocket of peace, and they'll have a nice little quiet meditation to some beautiful music, and it just quietens them down, and it's just a gorgeous little pocket of peace in the middle of the day. Or it could be that you invite some girlfriends around to your home, and everyone has a facial, and so you're not sitting watching someone else getting bored.
Yeah.
You're actually enjoying it yourself. You learn about your skin type, what you want your skin to become. We call that benefit-led. And so we've got a lot of these different experiences, and so mainly a consultant, that's what they'll fill their time doing. But it could also be having a coffee with someone on a one-to-one basis. Sometimes they build a team and they become a team leader and a manager. So there's a lot of scope. And so, as I say, it can be a little part-time thing, which is just a hobby for someone who's a product junkie and just loves skincare or cosmetics, right through to someone who is seriously looking for... Sue was a head teacher.
Yes.
And she
did say.
basically, took early retirement to do Temple Spa, but she's got a house in Spain. Her husband is a golfer. So she's got this wonderful life where she ebbs and flows with whatever's going on.
Yes, definitely. It was awesome meeting Sue and the experience that she brought. She had so much passion.
Yes.
She said that after she met Temple Spa, it was, okay, I'm going to put head teaching aside. And
I know.
This is
it
my
became her
main-
mission,
yeah.
literally her mission. It's a calling for her. Yeah,
definitely. So this is exciting, this opportunity that you have given to many women. If our viewers are interested and want to, come on board or take this opportunity, how can they do that?
We would love that. So we have created a QR code. I think you can see it on the screen.
Yes,
And so if you look on the QR code, it's going to take you to a Temple Spa landing page. And for your viewers exclusively, we've got a lovely discount for them. So if they decide they'd like to have a little look around and find some products that interest them, they'll get 15% off. But also, if they're looking for an opportunity for something they feel that there's a little gap in their life and they would love to be part of something that's entrepreneurial and for women, then there's an opportunity to just literally put your details in. And we have a network of consultants around the country. So depending on where your viewers are, we'll connect them with someone, and you never know. You could be setting off on a whole new path.
Yeah. And is it like, is there a training process?
Amazing training. Absolutely amazing training. Yes, we do it, and we can do it in bite-sized pieces. So if people have only literally got 20 minutes, they can just literally do 20 minutes worth, or they can do a whole 2 hours. Sometimes we have things that are in person. It's a bit like church, really. You know, sometimes you do things in person, and then sometimes you do things online, but you're part of a group. So if you think about the church setup, a lot of people like to be part of something smaller, and so we have that. So people are in lovely groups where they develop friendships and camaraderie, and it's a very open, encouraging, it's a very wonderful environment to be part of.
That is wonderful. That is very
When are you
wonderful.
joining?
Got me on the spot.
I did get you on the
maybe
spot.
I'll look into it. Definitely, because I truly love the products. I actually got one. But we are to the end of this episode.
Perfect.
And viewers, you should stick around, because the next episode we'll be trying out some of these fantastic products. Yesterday I had the opportunity of trying out the Glow range. Just stick around and we will be back.
You are watching Faith World TV. Faith World TV, changing the world with the Word of God.